My beautiful friend, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Let's talk about the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio happening on May 5th. This full moon in Scorpio, this lunar eclipse is an important lunation for all of us to restore emotional balance, to release and let go of anything that is in the way of our serenity, anything that is in the way of us achieving our dreams and moving closer to what our heart so desires. The deep, penetrating water sign of Scorpio rules money, sex, death and rebirth, transformation, and emotional and physical intimacy. So this is a deep, passionate, probing energy that wants us to get to the root of anything that is getting in the way of us trusting ourselves or trusting others. So this eclipse is happening at 10:34 a.m. Pacific time, 1:34 p.m. Eastern time, and 5:34 p.m. Universal time. So adjust the time for wherever you will be during this eclipse in Scorpio. As always, I will be doing readings for all 12 signs, giving you a message from Spirit, as well as pulling an oracle card for you. Listen for your rising sign. This is the area of life in which this full moon lunar eclipse is happening for you. Your sun sign is how your ego, personality, the life force in you is experiencing this eclipse, and your moon sign is how you are responding to it on an emotional level. I want to welcome those of you who are new to me. I am Betsy. I am a psychic astrologer as well as an intuitive life coach, and it is my joy to empower you. It's always my goal to empower you to be able to co-create the life that you most desire. So at the end of this video, I'm going to tell you a little bit more about my astrology consultations as well as my coaching. So be sure and stay tuned for that. And I have a free gift for you, which I will tell you all about at the end of this video. Good morning and welcome to all my Sunday chat people. I love meeting with you in the chat. So everyone's invited. Everyone is welcome. The more the merrier. 9 a.m. Pacific time is when we meet when this video is going live. Technology willing, and Mercury is now retrograde, so I always give myself a little leeway with that. Before you jump to your 12 sign readings, I really encourage you to listen to the first part of this video where I go into the nuances of this eclipse. This is an important eclipse. I'm going to share with you why that is. I'm going to let you know who will be most personally affected by this eclipse energy. I'm also going to offer you some tips for how we can really move through this eclipse, which may be very emotional. It's definitely going to be purging, releasing, letting go, and very possibly emotionally intense. But then we can rise like the phoenix from the ashes. Then we can feel more free, lighter, to step into what we really want. And our inner child will feel that much more protected. We have his or her back. And that releasing, as temporarily uncomfortable as it may be, is cathartic. And catharsis is a great thing. Have you ever had like a really, really good cry and you come out of it and you're like, I feel so relieved. I feel so much better. I'm actually okay. I thought I was so attached to that thing or that person or situation that I thought I needed, but I feel better now. Now, what's notable about this eclipse is that it's a south node eclipse. What does this mean? It means that it is close to the south node of the moon. The south node of the moon is where we are releasing, letting go of karmic ties, karmic thought patterns, our past conditioning from our childhood or our past lives, and often it can bring in a past life relationship, usually in order to help us heal or let go of something, to show us perhaps where we're not fully in alignment with our soul's path, or we're not fully taking care of our emotional selves. So South Node lunar eclipses especially are more likely to bring endings, culminations, and cutting of the ties to something, someone, a relationship, a situation that is no longer good for us, that we may even say is toxic to us. Contrast this with the Aries new moon solar eclipse that we just had, which was a North Node eclipse. The North Node is the direction that we're going. It's our North Star. It's our inner compass. So with that Aries eclipse, and I'm filming this right after that Aries eclipse, so leave me a comment if you'd like to share how that affected you. With that eclipse, solar eclipse, it was a new moon eclipse. We were thinking about, what do we want next? What is our new life chapter going to look like? And now 2 weeks later comes along the lunar eclipse in Scorpio, and the lunar eclipse is saying, okay, but what do we have to release and let go of? Behavior patterns, thought patterns, ways of seeing ourselves that are not empowering, where we're giving away our power to someone else or a situation. What do we have to release and let go of in order to claim back our own manifestation power and our own sense of, I've got this, I've got my own back, I can do this, I can create the life I want. And I have to tell you, there is so much activity right now going on in my neighborhood. I mean, there are trucks, there's a construction project going on the hill above me. There are so many construction trucks going back and forth this morning. And I'm just gonna say, we're in a construction period, my friend. We're in a period of transformation. This is a huge turning point energy. That Aries solar eclipse energy was a massive turning point for all of us. We had so much going on in Aries with the Sun, Jupiter, Cazimi, which I have a separate video for you on. I will link to that. But in Aries energy, we were getting our courage up. Our boldness, our inner boldness was being activated to just say yes to something that we just know we want to do in our lives. Now we're tuning inward with this lunar eclipse. Now we are looking at our inner landscape, and most particularly our emotional landscape. Are we leaking our energy out to anyone who doesn't deserve our energy? Are we in a fantasy land about the potential of a situation or a person that doesn't match the reality? Are we codependent or dependent on a source of money or a substance or a relationship that isn't good for us, that isn't good for our health? This eclipse wants to help us detoxify our lives. Anything in our lives that is draining our energy, that has expired, that we know deep down in our bellies or in our hearts or in our psyches, we know it's time to let go of it. Now, you may not know this until the eclipse time or right before the eclipse time. This is when a light bulb moment may happen. This is when we see a truth. Full moons usually reveal a truth. Now we have a full moon lunar eclipse that is even bigger and more potent, that is saying, look at this truth. The lights are all coming on. It's like the stadium lights coming on. The neon lights are flashing. Look here, red flag, red flag. This is happening. We have to be fiercely honest with ourselves. We're being strongly nudged or pushed to be fiercely honest with ourselves, radical honesty about what is going on in our relationships, with our finances, whoever we share resources with. And of course, sharing resources is simply mutually, giving and receiving energy from another person, but it can also be money. Scorpio rules the 8th house, which is debts, taxes, investments, inheritances, physical intimacy, our sexuality. It's where we want to have deep emotional bonds with others. And this can be messy, but now we're doing some cleanup. Now Spirit's saying, okay, whatever is messy, whatever is in your face right now, it's time to do some cutting of cords and cleaning up. Now, this is the last eclipse in Scorpio for 8 years, 8 years. And if you think about your emotional safety, your ability to trust yourself, your ability to trust another, if you think about that, how would you like that to feel for the next 8 years? This is a beautiful time to do this cleanup and to up-level our sense of safety within ourselves, our sense of, I have my own back. I can see, I'm discerning. I can see when something's good for me and it's not. And I can be proactive about taking care of myself. So during this lunar eclipse, across from the full moon in Scorpio, we have the sun in Taurus. And because the sun and the moon are across from each other on this axis that we call the Taurus-Scorpio axis, we've had a string of eclipses on this axis. Now, the first eclipse that occurred on this axis was November 19, 2021. So you might want to think back to November of 2021. What were you seeding? What were you beginning then? We have been building toward a solid, sustainable foundation, a life upgrade since November of 2021. Now we have the culmination of this final eclipse in Scorpio in May of 2023. This is where we've been working on our emotional and financial stability and sense of security. Taurus is where we meet our own needs for the basic things in life. It's ruled by Venus, it's money, it's love, it's pleasure, it's beauty, it's comfort, where we find comfort. So in Taurus, it's I'm going to provide for myself. I'm going to be able to rely on myself in a material 3D reality way. In Scorpio, by contrast, it's about what do I share with you? what energy, money, resources, time is going back and forth between you and the other person, whoever that other is for you. Usually this is our deepest, most intimate bonds with others. While Taurus builds, Scorpio often has to go through a transformation process, a destruction process, a process of destroying the form of something in order to regenerate into a new form. And this is because in Scorpio, we have massive soul growth. This is where our soul growth is on an emotional level. This is where we learn to be discerning, where we start to see where we're giving our energy away, where there's an imbalance between us and another with whom we're sharing energy, money, time, or resources. So this can be very personal for you, my friend. This can feel very personal. These can be feelings that you have that are very deep. This can be deep, dark fears. This can be fears that you will never have your emotional needs met. This could be a very tender, emotional time where we are releasing feelings from traumas from many, many lifetimes ago, where you could feel triggered from an interaction with another person, or where you could see from a relationship that you're in, a close relationship that you're in, you can see where your emotional, your physical, your needs for intimacy are not being met, and where you need a course correction. Because remember, eclipses course correct us. They pick us up and put us in the right place. They move us around. They reassign us to different relationships, different jobs, different ways of being in the world that are more empowering, more self-trusting, more self-loving. Now, a lunar eclipse is the culmination of an eclipse that happened 6 months earlier. So 6 months ago, October 25th of 2022, we had a solar eclipse in Scorpio. That was a new moon eclipse. So you can also think back to October, late October of 2022, and what you were creating back then. What were you seeding intentions for? What were you taking steps on at that time? At that time, for me, I had decided that I was going to move to Puerto Vallarta. I had just gotten back from a trip to Puerto Vallarta where I was house hunting, where I was apartment hunting, and I had decided to move to a specific place the following December. So 2 months later, I was going to be moving to Puerto Vallarta. And I was going back and forth with my landlord over what he was fixing, like basically trying to hold him accountable for fixing the things that he said he would fix. And I remember having a lot of fears come up at that time of whether he was actually going to do the things that he said he was going to do. Because intuitively, I felt that some of those things might just get skirted over. Some of those things that he told me, he promised me he would do, I just had a feeling in my gut. I had a gut feeling that those things may not play out. And that brought up a lot of fears for me over, am I going to get my needs met? So here I am 6 months later living in this apartment, and I've been here for 4 months. And there have been a number of things that have gone wrong since I moved here, a number of things that needed fixing. But in that process, I have gotten stronger and stronger and stronger as I've had to reach out to him and say, this needs fixing. In some cases, I had to sort of negotiate my way through and saying, this is why I need you to do this. And I'll be honest with you, that hasn't been easy for me because I don't like confrontation. I have Libra in my 4th house. Libra wants beauty and harmony and everything to feel good. Libra really wants good feeling relationships. And so it's been a bit challenging for me, but I have risen to the occasion. And this is what this eclipse wants us to do. It wants us to let go of any places where we are walking on eggshells with another person, where we're tiptoeing around the issues, the elephant in the room. We're tiptoeing it around it because we feel deep down that if we say something or we assert our healthy power, we assert our needs, there's a deep fear for some of us that if we do that, we will lose the relationship, we'll lose the thing that they have that we need. So it could be a loss of money, it could be a shift in your home situation. Often with this kind of energy, we're deeply afraid of losing something. We feel that the other person has the power. We feel that we're not in our power. We don't have the power, they have the power. And so we act in ways that diminishes our power. But this is what this eclipse wants us to clear out. Whiteboard, cleaning the whiteboard off, erasing the whiteboard. It's time to cut that pattern out of our lives. So who will be most affected by this lunation? This eclipse is happening at 14 degrees and 58 minutes of Scorpio. 14 degrees and 58 minutes means we're almost to 15 degrees. So wherever you have 14 to 15 degrees of Scorpio in your natal astrology chart is where you're going to be feeling this energy. And for those of you who have planets or points between 10 and 20 degrees of Scorpio, 10 and 20 degrees of Scorpio, or the other fixed signs of Taurus, Aquarius, or Leo, you will be feeling this eclipse most personally, most intensely. But of course, we all have this degree point somewhere in our natal astrology chart, so we're all going to be feeling this energy. Scorpio energy reveals a truth. It shows us something that we didn't see before. It is unconscious. It's our deep unconscious. And this is why Scorpio energy can be so challenging to deal with. It can be difficult. It can be heart-wrenching even. And that is because whatever comes to light is often something that was deep down hidden. It was hidden so much in the murky waters below that we didn't see it. This is our blind spot. But when we do see it, we do have to go through the pain of seeing something, and feeling through this in our body. So important that we feel through the energy, because remember, this is just stuck energy in the body. It's stuck energy. Once we can feel through it, we can let it out emotionally, we can have the good cry, we can journal it, we can talk to a trusted person, a friend, a coach, a therapist, an astrologer. Once we can do that, then we can come out of the chrysalis as the butterfly. Then we can be the phoenix rising from the ashes, a whole new self, completely transformed, wiser. There's a wisdom with Scorpio energy. There's a wisdom that we gain as a reward of going through a pattern. We may have perpetuated this pattern over a number of years. I know this is true for me. I have a pattern that is very personal that I have seen myself unconsciously play out, but now finally I feel so clear on what this pattern is, and I am so empowered by that. I am so empowered by the fact that not only do I see it so clearly, but I am no longer going to allow myself to play this pattern out again. So especially if you're one of those who is most personally affected, if this degree point of 14 to 15 in Scorpio for you is touching any planets in the fixed signs for you, most likely you will have a truth that comes to light, or a behavior pattern, or a thought pattern, a belief system that comes to light for you during this eclipse that will be a truth, the truth shall set you free moment. You can choose to transform this. And this will restore your trust in yourself, my friend. This will really help you build a strong foundation of self-trust that will ripple out to all of your relationships and everything that you co-create in your life. When I think of Scorpio energy, I think of the goddess Kali. The goddess Kali is the supreme mother, nurturer, fierce protector. She is a fierce protector. She knows that anything that is not good for us has to go. She is known to destroy evil and bestow liberation, bestow freedom. She's a divine protector, and this sometimes means that we have righteous anger coming up. We have a reason to feel angry when we have a triggering moment with a Scorpio lunation. We have a reason to feel angry. Righteous anger is an invitation to honor ourselves, to release that anger in healthy ways. And remember that Scorpio is co-ruled by Mars and Pluto. Mars and Pluto. Mars is our motivation, it's our mojo, it's our go-getting energy, it's where we go after things in life, but it's also where we cut ties to things that are no longer serving us. Pluto is a power player. Pluto is passion, it's intensity, it's all in, it's all or nothing. With Pluto energy, Pluto comes along and says, that's not good for you, that's going. That's poisonous to you, why are you still doing that? That is something you know has been bad for you a long time. It's time to cut that out, my friend. So Pluto energy would be like where you finally realize that a substance or a food or something you've been putting in your body is destructive to you on some level. It's like people who are allergic to alcohol, but they think, well, I can have just one drink, that's okay. But they realize over and over, no, I actually can't have just one drink. This is actually bad for me. Or you're someone who tends to fall in love with unavailable partners, and you've seen this pattern over and over, and you finally say, I am no longer going to do this. I'm no longer going to go for someone whose potential I see, but that potential is not the reality. They're not living out their potential. In their reality, they can't match my energy. They can't be there for me. Why am I being there for them? Pluto energy can bring up power struggles. It can be where we are obsessing over something or someone over and over. And we know when we're in obsession mode that there's something off, right? There's something off about the relationship or how we're doing the relationship or what we're expecting. The term "it's complicated." We say it's complicated about certain relationships. That's a Pluto relationship. If we're saying it's complicated, what we're saying is I have mixed feelings about it. Well, this eclipse, my friend, it wants you to face those mixed feelings. It wants you to decide ultimately what's best for you. We get to the point with a lot of relationships, and remember, 8th house ruled by Pluto is both money and relationships. This is a partnership house. We get to the point where with certain behaviors, addictions, patterns, where we realize we're at the point of diminishing returns. What we're giving out and the pain that we're getting back as a result of how we're doing that relationship situation, job, business, whatever it is, it now has diminishing returns for us. And that's where this eclipse comes in and says, let it go, let it go, let it go. We often don't want to let it go because we feel we're dependent on it. We feel like we need it. We still want to get that good thing that's coming from it. There's always something good that's coming from a behavior that we're not letting go of, right? There's always a payoff. But in this eclipse energy, it's like, are you still getting enough payoff for this? Is it draining your energy? Is it keeping you from following your dreams? We know that this is true if it's something that we're blaming in our lives, if it's something that we are crying tears over on a regular basis, if it's something or someone that feels out of balance for us, if we feel frequently disappointed in our interactions with people. It's like a toxic work relationship. It's like a micromanaging boss, or a boss that does a real power play with you and puts you in your place and makes you feel like you're insignificant. Or you finally reclaim your power with that micromanaging boss and they are threatened by that and they dishonor you even further. Well, there is a very big invitation to say goodbye. This eclipse wants us to set clear boundaries. And whenever we set clear boundaries, it's very likely we'll get pushback. I love the phrase, and they don't have to like it. Most likely, whoever you're setting a boundary with, they're not going to like it. There will be some pushback. Watch the behavior that comes after that. Is it balancing itself out? Are you getting your needs met? When something is toxic to us, it's because we're going back to an empty well. We keep going back to the empty well, thinking that it's going to quench our thirst when there's nothing in that well. There's nothing that can nurture or nourish us. So this is, of course, an invitation to go to our own well, to our soul's deep well, and drink from the unconditional love of our soul. I know this can sound abstract, so if you would like some more practical pointers on doing that, I encourage you to check out my book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling, where I give you tools and tips to forge a very close, intimate bond with your soul. I also have some free guided meditations on my YouTube channel. I will link to the playlist for those guided meditations because they also connect you with that deep well of unconditional love within you. A big clue to where this lunar eclipse in Scorpio is guiding us is the fact that we have 4 luminaries in Taurus. In Taurus, which is about our material security. It's about upgrading our lives. Ever since we've had the North Node in Taurus, it's been about us receiving, creating a life upgrade. So this is where we're headed, my friend. We have the sun in Taurus. We have Uranus in Taurus, which has been shaking things up, trying to get our attention, give us awakenings and aha moments to let us know what changes we need to make in this area of getting our material needs met. We also have Mercury retrograde in Taurus. We have the North Node in Taurus. Mercury retrograde in Taurus is having us rethink our thought processes and our sense of deserving and worthiness around having the life that we truly want in a material way. So I love the synchronicity of Mercury having gone retrograde just after the Aries solar eclipse. It's retrograde during this eclipse in Scorpio, and bringing up these themes of deserving and worthiness, where we've settled for crumbs in our life instead of the full cookie, the luscious, steamy, hot cookie with extra chocolate. Thank you very much. I want extra chocolate. I like those big chunks of chocolate, actually. And in Taurus, this is what we're being asked to do, is to really look at what we really love, what's really nourishing to us, what's really comforting to us, and not settle for less. Not only is Uranus conjunct the sun in Taurus, but it's opposing the eclipse. It's opposing the eclipse. What does this mean? It means it wants us to shift something, to change something, to wake up. This is the great awakener. Uranus is the great awakener. It can be electrifying. It can disrupt our sleep, I'm sorry to say, but it wants us to upgrade our lives. It wants us to innovate. It wants us to think outside the box, to do something different, to change our behavior patterns, to change our thinking patterns, to receive the divine revelations of the universe. It wants to free us. It wants to liberate us. Uranus is a breakdown, breakthrough energy. So we all have the potential. If you're going through a breakdown, my friend, know that there is a breakthrough coming after the breakthrough. If you just allow yourself to feel through any feelings and cut the ties to anything that is not honoring of you, that is not supporting you, that will not allow you to meet the needs emotionally and material that you have, that you can't negotiate away, no more settling. So you may have temporary disruption during this eclipse. You may receive a surprise and out of the blue something. It may feel chaotic, it may feel disruptive, it may even feel like a shock. And I'm sorry to say that, but I've had plenty of these shocks in my life. And when I have, it's because I had red flags that showed up before that. I had intuitive gut feelings that said, Betsy, this isn't good for you. Why are you still going back to this? But finally, why are you still hanging out with these people who aren't honoring you, who aren't giving you what you're giving them? But finally, then I get the shock. It's like, it doesn't feel like an electric shock, thankfully, but I mean, then you get the emotional shock, right? In Scorpio, with Uranus opposing the moon, then you get that shock and you're like, okay, now I see. I cannot deny that this is happening anymore. It takes us out of denial. It is a wake-up call that is ultimately liberating and freeing for us. With Mercury retrograde in Taurus, we're really rethinking, reevaluating any relationships or any place where we're sharing resources with others or where we're giving ourselves in an emotionally intimate way or a physically intimate way, where we're really reevaluating and reassessing, is this something that is healthy for me? Is this something that is supporting my energy? Do I feel inspired when I come away from this person? Because ultimately we all want to feel inspired and uplifted and supported. So if you don't feel fully supported by a situation, a job, a relationship, this is what you're getting the reprieve, the permission slip to review during this Mercury retrograde period. So I think it's perfect timing that we have this Mercury retrograde during this lunar eclipse in Scorpio. And it's really going to push us to set boundaries where we haven't been setting boundaries. It's really going to push us to be clear about our needs and communicate those needs. Mercury communication, communicate those needs to others. So I think a lot of us are going to be having conversations that feel difficult, that feel challenging, but again, that ultimately send that message to our inner child that we have his or her back. Think of yourself as the goddess Kali. Think, I'm going to be Kali in this moment. I'm going to show up to this conversation in my power, where I'm communicating in a loving way, where I have compassion for the other person, but I am also fiercely protecting my inner child, and I'm not afraid to state what I need. Mars is in Cancer, fellow water sign to Scorpio, making a trine, positive energy flow, which means that it will be easier to make the cuts that we need to make. It will be easier to have these conversations, to take action that we need to take in order to fully value ourselves, value a Taurus word, to step up and value ourselves more, and to have the faith. Remember, the Aries solar eclipse was about courage and boldness and faith, to have the faith that we can fill the void. If this eclipse in Scorpio brings a void for you because you let go of something that's emotionally unhealthy for you, my friend, have faith that that void will be filled in with something that is much better for you, that is much higher frequency and a match to what your heart most wants. So a few tips on how you can work with this energy, and then we're going to get to the 12 sign readings. This is a beautiful time to do deep healing work. Work with a coach like myself or an astrologer or a therapist. Beautiful time for that. Forgiveness of yourself and the other. Going through that forgiveness process, which I lead my clients through in coaching. I can do that with you as well. A deep forgiveness process can really lighten you and open up space for something better to come into your life. Cutting cords. Releasing your emotions through movement, sound, and tears. Movement, sound, and tears. You can dance out your emotions. Moving the body while you release your emotions, while you have a good cry, is a really good way to kind of accelerate that releasing process. Expect that there may be a grief process. You may not even know what you're grieving. I remember years ago, before I went through a divorce to my partner who I was with for 22 years, I remember crying all summer before I even knew that there was a problem in our marriage, before I even knew that our marriage had really died, which it had. I went through this immense grief process and I was like, why am I crying so much? I don't even know why I'm crying. So sometimes it takes a little while for that grief process to catch up with our conscious mind of what's really going on, and that's okay. Get support through some sort of body-based healing modalities. I do that with my clients. It's important that we involve the body and we don't just talk through the issues. When we're just talking through, it doesn't allow us to release the energy that needs to go. So let's do the 12 sign readings, my friend. Be sure to listen to your rising sign, which is the area of your chart, which corresponds to the area of life in which this full moon lunar eclipse is happening for you. Your sun sign, which brings in more intuitive messages for you and talks about how your ego and personality are dealing with this eclipse. And also your moon sign, which is how you're receiving and working through these energies on an emotional level. Wherever this is happening in your chart is where you're going to feel an ending or a conclusion, a culmination to something. It could be where you're cutting ties, where there's a completion, and you could have a manifestation as well. Across the chart from wherever this is happening in your chart, in the Taurus area of your chart is where you're leveling up, is where you're building toward a life upgrade. So I'm going to, for each sign, let you know in which area are you having an ending or a culmination or a manifestation, and then in which area, the Taurus area of your chart, are you leveling up. So let's start with Scorpio. Hello, beautiful Scorpio. Beautiful Scorpio, this is your lunar eclipse. This is really big for you. It's happening for you in your first house. So you're going through a complete identity shift, Scorpio. You are releasing an old self. This is a death and rebirth transit for you. Now, I don't want to scare you. Yes, it will probably be uncomfortable for a lot of you, especially if it's close to your rising sign in degrees, close to that 14 to 15 degree point, but you are going to come through this feeling liberated, feeling more free, feeling ready to take on your life. Now, your message from Spirit is that this is going to feel very personal to you. It may feel very tender. This may be things that you have never told another person in your life. And you know, it can be really freeing to engage a coach or a therapist or an astrologer, to engage that person and someone that you feel a level of trust with, where you can actually share something that feels like a dark fear. It feels like something that you've never said to anyone else. That can be extremely, extremely freeing. And I know that that's difficult, Scorpio, and not everyone is ready to do that. But I just want to plant that little seed for you, that can really give you the freedom and the breakthrough that your heart, your soul, your mind are really wanting right now. Now, where you are leveling up, Scorpio, is in the 7th house of your partnerships. This is where you're leveling up. This is clients, it's spouses, boyfriends, girlfriends, it's adult children, it's anyone with whom you have a very close, committed bond. This is where you're leveling up. So you could be ending a relationship here, or you could be beginning a new relationship. But regardless, you have a new vision. This is where you have a new vision for the kind of relationship that will be more emotionally supportive to you, that will be more passionate, that will feed you on all levels, beautiful Scorpio. And this is a good place and time to work with an advisor, to work with somebody, whatever it is that's going on for you in your life, to get professional help if you would like that support. If you feel the need for support, this is a really good time to get it, Scorpio. Okay, so now I'm shuffling the cards and I'm going to pull a card for Scorpios. And I also want to ask you, what are you passionate about? Because this is the time to ask yourself that question and take a step in that direction. This first house is not only your identity, it's your appearance, it's your vitality. It's really the place of rebirth. The very first house, it's where we come out into the world fresh and new again. This is becoming new again, Scorpio. So we become new again when we're inspired. And once we're inspired, we can take action on that passion. So Scorpio, your card. Your card is the Peacekeeper. Let go of the need to be right. Okay, so Scorpio, check out this card. Is there any sort of power struggle that you're in right now? You know this when we're in power struggles, or that you're in when you're going through this eclipse. You may find yourself in a power struggle. You know this when we're in a power struggle. Both people are trying to be right rather than thinking about the situation from their point of view, rather than having empathy and compassion for where they are, and also empathy and compassion for where you are. The phrase, would you rather be right or be happy, is coming to me. That is where you're being nudged with this card. Let go of the need to be right. You are a peacekeeper naturally. It doesn't mean sweeping things under the rug. It doesn't mean avoiding conflict. It doesn't mean avoiding having those difficult conversations. We need to have all of those, but from a place of, I want peace between us. I love you. I care about you. I want to continue this bond in a way that will meet both of our needs, if that's how you feel. Those are your marching orders, beautiful Scorpio. Happy lunar eclipse in your sign. Get ready to be freed and liberated. Okay, Libras. Hello, beautiful Libras. You are having this eclipse in Scorpio, this lunar eclipse in your second house of income, values, and self-love. So this is really what the Taurus energy represents. Taurus rules the second house. It represents our material reality. And if you watch the first part of this video where I gave you kind of the full scoop on how to work with these energies and what this is all about and how it's guiding us, this is really about us leveling up our sense of worthiness and deserving. So you are doing that in your second house. And this is where we receive money from our own income. This is where we realize we have different values than we had before. This is where you might make changes in your relationship with others, where you share resources, money, time, intimacy, physical and emotionally, where you share that with another person. Because your values have shifted, because your self-love has perhaps increased, because you have a new level of self-esteem, this is where we can want to change our agreements, where we want to level up our agreements. And this is where you're leveling up. It's in your 8th house of shared resources, investments, debt, taxes, sexuality. This is where you want to level up, beautiful Libra, where you could get a windfall of money, where you could get an inheritance, but at the very least you have a new vision for what you want your relationships to be like, those with whom you share resources. You have a new vision for that. Your message from Spirit is, well, some of you may be ending a job because you realize it's not feeding you. It's not worthy of what you're putting into it. You're not getting back what you're putting into it. You deserve more money now, a lot of you. And what Spirit really wanted me to impress was that you deserve to be passionate about what you're doing to receive money from. Now, I know that some of you have a side gig and that's where you get your money, and you do something else on the side that's passionate, and you're totally happy with that arrangement. So I'm not saying every person on the planet or every Libra has to be living their passion and making their money from that. But if you feel that whatever you are making your money from is draining you, is not reciprocating what you're putting into it, is not giving you, if you need a promotion or you need more money or whatever, this eclipse is saying, heed that self-knowledge. You have the wisdom, you have the self-knowledge. Now it's time to go out and get what you receive. And if you have some passion in your life when it comes to how you use your energy, that will really help you to level up your confidence to ask for what you need in terms of where you are making your money. Okay, so Libra, I'm shuffling the cards and I'm going to pull a card for you now. Beautiful Libra. Libra, your card is Mountains. Stand your ground. Okay. So you may be having a power struggle, Libra, with something at work or with a relationship, an 8th house relationship, which is where you're sharing money or emotional resources or, sexual energy. You may have a power struggle there. This is saying stand your ground. You are the mountain. Be the mountain. Know what you're worth. Know when something is draining your energy, when something is off. This is an eclipse where we want to rebalance anything that's out of balance in our lives. And for you especially, You're going to feel that in your second and eighth house. And the eighth house is also the transformation. That's where all the Taurus planets are. That's where it's saying time to up level here. That is what you may really be feeling, is that I'm going through a transformation, because you're going through a transformation, and this eclipse is really triggering that and inviting you into that death and rebirth process, which I know is extremely uncomfortable. It's temporary pain. We don't have to prolong the pain. When we prolong the pain, then we suffer, right? But we don't have to prolong it. We can feel the feelings. We can cut the cords and cut the ties to anything unhealthy, and then we can restore our serenity and balance. Okay, Virgo. Hello, beautiful Virgos. You guys are having this lunar eclipse in your third house of communication. It's your devices. It is your mindset. It's neighbors, cousins, siblings, and it's where you do all of your local networking, your interactions in your neighborhood, wherever you go to do your working out, your shopping, wherever you go, your immediate environment. So is there something that's toxic for you, Virgo, in your immediate environment? You could be cutting ties to a neighbor. You could be setting boundaries with a sibling. You could be saying something in my immediate environment, and that could include work too, is not healthy for me, and I'm stepping away from it. It's toxic to me. During this eclipse, we really want to cut ties to anything toxic, including where we're not standing in our power, where we're not voicing our needs. Third house is our communication, where we're not writing the emails and having the conversations that we need to have, Virgo, in order to set clear boundaries. Now, your environment, your message from Spirit is that your environment is changing, and your feelings about your environment are changing. The Scorpio eclipse sextiles your sign. It sextiles your sign, which gives you an opportunity. So there's a new opportunity. You could have a healing with a sibling or a neighbor or a cousin. This is a purifying eclipse for you. It wants you to purify. It wants you to detox anything that's uncomfortable, that is unhealthy for you. You could be healing your mindset, where you're leveling up. And I feel like some of you, when I tune into you, I feel like some of you you're very clear on a thought pattern, because you're ruled by Mercury, and you're very clear on a thought pattern, a way you've been thinking about yourself, for example, where you've been too hard on yourself, where you've been too perfectionistic, where you've expected more of yourself than is realistic. You're starting to realize that that's not only is that not good for you, but that you can get support from others now. I feel like some of you are starting to step out and get more support from others and stop trying to do it all by yourselves, which is really, really encouraging. Now, where you're leveling up, Virgo, is in your ninth house. The ninth house is the house of expansion. So this is where you have the awakening to a pattern you want to change. This is where you have the light bulb go off, the epiphanies and the aha moments. It's also the house of spirituality and spiritual beliefs. So you could be saying, I'm changing a spiritual belief. It just doesn't align with me anymore. You could be going back to school, or culminating a degree program, or getting a certification in one of the metaphysical arts, or going on an adventure, or planning some long distance travel. But whatever it is, it's going to help you to build a more solid, sustainable foundation. It's where you're thinking about your material reality and creating a better life for yourself. So Virgo, now I'm going to pull a card for you. I'm shuffling the cards. What do the cards have to say for beautiful Virgo? Virgo, your card is the Spirit Fox. Trust your talents in changing times. The Spirit Fox. What do you see in this card, Virgo? Oh my gosh, I see such a sweetness and innocence in this fox's face and the eyes. So the first thing I want to say to you is you have the sweetness and this innocence that you may not have honored in yourself, acknowledged in yourself, Virgo, that I really want you to see. What do you see in this fox? That is you. Whatever you see in someone else or in this image is what is calling to you to own in yourself. There's an up level of self-confidence here. There's an up level of self-trust here for you. Trust your talents. Trust that your talents will take you far, especially your ability to communicate. Now, I want you all to back up your devices. I forgot to say that. Mercury is retrograde. You guys are ruled by Mercury. Make sure and back up all your devices. But you have a mercurial brilliance about you, Virgo. And this fox is saying, let me be your totem animal. Follow me. I will show you. I will show you things you haven't seen before. This eclipse wants to reveal a truth to you, and it may be a truth about your talents, your gifts, your brilliance that you can activate and you can bring more into the world for a better quality of life. Beautiful Virgo. Okay, Leos. Hello, beautiful Leos. You guys are having this Scorpio lunar eclipse in your 4th house of home, family, and childhood conditioning. So something may come up for you to clear around a toxic home, family environment that you had in childhood, that you had in a past life, or that you have currently in your life. Somebody could also be leaving your home or family. A roommate could be moving out. Something could be culminating. You could be moving into a new house. You could have built a house or designed a new tiny home or something like that that you're moving into. So this can also be a manifestation of something coming to fruition. The energy of the Scorpio eclipse is squaring your sign. Squares are tension and pressure. So you could feel some tension and pressure. The way to release that is to say, is there anything that's not good for me in my life? Is there something in my home life that feels toxic? This could take you into a deep dive with something that happened in your childhood. And you may say, I already healed that. I've already looked at all my childhood stuff. I'm done with that. Well, there are many layers, as a therapist, a spiritual coach said to me once. There are many layers. And sometimes something pops up again that we thought we healed, we thought we let go of, giving us an invitation to do it again, a little more inner excavation and more freedom, more emotional freedom. This eclipse is inviting you to get to the root of a frustration or an anger or a dissatisfaction in your life. You'll be glad you did that work. If you want support doing that work, it would be my joy to support you. Where you're leveling up, Leo, where you're leveling up is in your 10th house of career. This is where you're shining your light big and bright. This is career, this is life purpose, it's meaning. It's where you want a life upgrade. You want to do something that brings you meaning and passion. Now, for those of you who already do something that brings you meaning and passion, maybe you're doing it in a different way. Uranus is here in Taurus in your 10th house saying, do it differently. Think outside the box, innovate, go bigger, go, Uranus is the great awakener. It wants you to really shine your brilliance. It wants you to tap into the cosmic intelligence and bring down downloads that are going to help not just heal you and your immediate family, but also the planet, the people in this world. We're all of us. I think if you're listening to this, watching this video, you are a spiritual light worker in your own way. You're a love worker. You're here to make the world a better place, however inspired you are to do that. So, and I think some of you are going to get more recognition in this area of life too, perhaps more money, start your own business, something that's really vitalizing and invigorating to you. So Leos, I shuffled the cards and I'm now going to pull a card for Leo. Leo, your card is the Arrow. Surround yourself with protective energy. So some of you could be in a toxic home environment right now. I encourage you, if you are, to get out of it or to have the person or people who are creating that toxicity leave, or you leave. If that's the case, I know that's not for all of you, but for those of you it is. For those of you for whom it is, to take that step to protect yourself. Because this card is saying that you are in, whether it's at work or at home or in another environment, you need to surround yourself with protective energy. You can call on the goddess Kali. I love using Kali for that. You can surround yourself with light. You can do anything that purifies your energy, and you can call on Archangel Michael also to be a protective force for you, or your own guardian angels. There are many ways of doing this, but the most important thing is to not give your energy away, not be a sponge to other people's emotions, and to regularly clear your energy so that you can be happy and fulfilled, and you can walk in your own energy and do your life in your own energy and have the vitality that comes from that, beautiful Leo. Okay, Cancers. Hello, beautiful Cancer family. My moon is in Cancer, as is my rising sign. So for Cancers, this Scorpio lunar eclipse is happening in your 5th house of children, creativity, true love, and romance. So some of you may be cutting ties or culminating, ending a pattern around love and romance that has kept you from having the love you want, where you were settling for crumbs instead of the whole cookie, for example. Also with your creativity, some of you are having a culmination in your creativity. Some of you could be bringing out a creative project. You could be launching a website or bringing something out into the world, a book or a piece of music or one person show, something where you are shining your light. This is the Leo house. This is the house of the inner child too. It's also the house of children. So something could be going on in your children's lives where they're having to go through some sort of purification, detoxification, death and rebirth process. I know when I say that it might scare you. I never want to think that anything hard is happening for my children either, but you may be of support to a child in your life who's going through this process. But remember, they have their angels and guides too, and they are going through something that is going to help them rise like the phoenix from the ashes. They are going to be ultimately liberated through this process as well. This energy of Scorpio trines your Cancer energy. You're both water, so you're like cousins. And that's beautiful when I tune into you. So that means there's an ease in letting go. There's an ease. And I know for me, I recently had a situation that really triggered me, and I came home and I cried and I did some breath work and some yoga. And then I was like, I feel so much better now. I can let that go. And I was kind of surprised at how quickly I was able to release it. I got an image when I tuned into you of a flowing river. And the message was, you can get back in the flow. Release anything that is blocking your creative flow. Honor your time and your energy, Cancer. Anything that you're obsessing over, that's draining your energy, that is a distraction for you, that isn't giving back and filling you up and isn't giving you what you're putting into it, that is good. That is probably what needs snipping away, or at least the way you're approaching it, the way you're responding to it. It doesn't have to be you let go of the relationship, but maybe you give less to it. Maybe you cut ties to any expectations, and that's not easy for Cancers to do. So sometimes we have to release the relationship because we're not always the best at detaching, right? Cancer attaches. So you have to know yourself. You have to know what you're capable of. You have to know how something's affecting you. And ultimately, has it reached the point of diminishing returns for you? Where you're leveling up, Cancer, is where you have all these planets and luminaries in Taurus, is your 11th house. And this is where you're up leveling friendships, your social media platforms, just communications with people on social media. You could be cutting ties there. You could be cutting ties to a friendship or a community group or a cause that you've been involved in. And this is where the house of hopes, wishes, and dreams and long-term gains as well. So this is also a financial house, and you could be creating a new vision for your finances or receiving unexpected money as well. Okay, Cancer, I almost forgot to pull your card. So now I'm shuffling the cards, and I'm going to pull a card for you. Oh, okay, one fell out. One fell out. This is your card. Okay, it says, great teacher. Learn from spiritual experiences. I love this. So when I see this card, I see Jesus. You may see a different figure, but when I see this, I see this great teacher. And this is acknowledging that you have a great teacher within you. You have a great teacher within you, beautiful Cancer. And this card is saying, know that you are wise, that every difficult experience you've had has made you a better teacher for others, has made you the person who can help others heal as well. Learn from your spiritual experiences. We Cancers can have a tendency to feel very downtrodden and disappointed from repeated emotional losses. And what this card is saying is those were gifts. They didn't feel like gifts at the time. Whatever you have going on during this eclipse may not feel like a gift until you're through it. But know that you are learning. What are you learning from these spiritual experiences that you're having? And once you learn from it, apply it to your life. Don't keep going back like it's so easy and saying, sort of living on a hope and a prayer. Well, maybe this time it'll be different. Maybe this person who's been unavailable, who's already showing me signs that they're unavailable, maybe they'll be better. Maybe I can just eke out a little bit of passion and sustenance from this relationship. Well, or maybe not. Maybe they've already shown you the truth. Trust the truth. Trust that what you see. You are a wise teacher. You are helping others. There are no wrong turns. You haven't done anything wrong. You haven't made any mistakes, only mistakes. Beautiful Cancer. But now it's time to come into your own as the spiritual teacher that you are. And with the 11th, all these planets in the 11th house, maybe you're bringing your work out more into the world and you are being a spiritual teacher or healer of some sort to the masses, to the community. Trust your own knowing, trust your heart, trust your soul, follow your inner guidance, beautiful Cancer. Okay, Geminis, beautiful Gemini. My natal sun is in Gemini. So you are my Gemini family. And you are having this eclipse in Scorpio in your 6th house. The 6th house is the house of health. It's the house of vitality. It is our routines, everything we do to feel strong and healthy and vital. It's also our work schedule because our work affects our health and vitality, right? And especially our mental health and our physical health. So in this house, we are detoxifying a habit, most likely during this eclipse. Look at your habits. Look at your sleep habits, your food, the substances you take in. Are they vital to you? Or are you not doing a habit, especially like physical exercise or good nutrition or good sleep, are you not doing something that could revitalize you? Like I recently added a full breathwork class once a week, and it's really helping me. It's making me feel stronger, and it's really helping cleanse my energy and detoxify me because that's what breathwork does. So it may be something completely different for you. Your message from Spirit is, though, that it's time for you to put yourself first. It's time for you to really value your energy, and anything that is stealing energy from you, beautiful Gemini. I'm thinking of the 7 of Swords card in the tarot, where something is stealing our energy. It's like a little mouse that just kind of eats away at our energy. It drains you. Wherever you have energy drains, I would encourage you to look at what's draining my energy, what's inspiring my energy, what's uplifting. Release the energy drains. Keep going with the inspiring, uplifting energy boosters, and add an energy booster if that will help you in feeling like you can have the courage to cut ties to anything that you need to cut ties to, which could include your own thought patterns. Now, where you are leveling up is in the 12th house, and I feel you're leveling up your sense of worthiness and deserving. You may be changing a story about your life. Very freeing, very liberating, Gemini. You're up-leveling your self-love, your self-esteem. Any place where we fantasize, okay? Because 12th house is often where we escape and we fantasize and we project onto people that things that are not true. And often that is projecting really beautiful things and really amazing qualities that a person doesn't actually possess. And then we're disappointed. 12th house is where we can have disappointments. So we're becoming more aware of that now. And we're saying, I want better. I want a better life. I want a better mystical life. I want a better dream life. I want a better manifesting life, because we can do a lot of manifesting in the 12th house as well. Okay, Gemini, I've shuffled the cards and now I'm going to pull a card for Geminis. Beautiful Gemini. Your card is the Direction Guardian. I love this card. Choose your path. There's so much power in this card, so much fierceness, so much golden abundance. In this card, you can see that there are angel wings. You could also see those as eagle wings. In this card, you can see there are a lot of wings in this card, actually, and there's a bird down here. People always correct me on the kind of bird that it is. I don't know what kind of bird it is, but but you can see that there is a lion. Yes, that's a lion. And I also see a bull, okay? So this is a nod to the Taurian energy. The lion is the fierceness within you. The bird to me represents your mercurial energy, your receiving of messages from the winged ones, okay? And your connection to the divine, the golden light coming down that's lighting you up in gold. This is a card of abundance. This is a card of you acknowledging your fierce self, your acknowledging that you received downloads all the time from the winged ones or from your own higher guidance, and that this gives you power, Gemini. This gives you a lot of power. These forces, these benevolent forces, can all help you to choose your direction. It's time to focus. It's time to be completely focused on what you most want. And if you need help finding your direction, you know where to find me. Links are all in the description box below. But this is saying choose your path. If you're unclear, choose your path, go for it, just say yes, and you'll be rewarded, Gemini. Okay, Taurus, hello, beautiful Taurians. Okay, you guys are having this eclipse in Scorpio in your seventh house of partnerships, clients, committed partnerships, any place where you give your energy and they give energy back to you and you feel like you have a spoken or unspoken commitment. These are the people that are most important to you in your life. Now, this eclipse is opposing your sign. It's opposing your sign. So something may happen that requires you to have an emotional release or purge through a partnership or through an interaction with another person or through an external event, because that's what oppositions do. Your message from Spirit is know your worth. Do not settle for less. You may have an ending in an interaction with someone else come about because of interaction. You may say goodbye to a role that you play, for example, because this is happening in your seventh house. It's the first house that's across from this eclipse, and that's where we play, have the role, what we call roles, where we play roles. Well, you're being up-leveled to soul-directed kind of roles rather than conditioned roles that you've chosen out of conditioning, where you feel responsible for others. You're being up-leveled in that area, okay? So you may have a change of identity during this eclipse. You may realize that something you've been doing or how you've been helping others in a certain way or certain people, you're done with it. You have to cut ties to that now. You may be taking on a new role. You're up-leveling. Uranus in your first house, for those of you who are Taurus risings, has been trying to get you to change your identity, to up-level it to spiritual warrior identity, to see yourself as a spirit of pure love, to see yourself through the eyes of the divine, to know who you really, really are deep down, and to up-level your sense of self-worth, beautiful Taurus. So your message from Spirit, again, is about up-leveling your worth, and call on your reserves, call on your spiritual reserves, your spiritual helpers, your guides, your guardian angels, your own soul. Call on your own soul to fill you with love and beauty and divine sustenance that you need and deserve, beautiful Taurus. Okay, Taurus, now I'm going to pull a card for you. Taurus, beautiful Taurus. Your card is, ooh, I love this card, Taurus. I love it so much. Shaylin Master, be graceful in movement and action. Check it out. It is, talk about spiritual. This is about harnessing your energy. This is about mastering your energy. This is a self-mastery eclipse for you. Notice how he has the grasshopper on one hand and how he has the ball, the golden ball of self-worth and abundance and self-love. And he is balancing both. And it says, again, I'm going to read this to you again. It says, be graceful in movement and action. So I feel like this is kind of saying, you're ruled by Venus. There's a grace about that. Choose your actions wisely. Go by your inner compass. Listen to that inner compass to make the decisions that you make. You don't have to move quickly. You already know that, Taurus. You take your time. You don't make decisions or take action before you feel it in your gut, before you feel strongly in your gut what is the right action to take. Trust that. Trust yourself. Trust yourself. Move like the Zen master that you are or are becoming. And you will find a certain flow and grace and ease, perhaps that you've never experienced before. Beautiful Taurus. And one last note is that, yes, you already said this, where you're leveling up is in your first house. And that means you're going to have a new vision for yourself. You're going to have a new vision for how you want to be in the world, how you want others to see you, and how you see yourself. And that's very transformational. So trust the process. Okay, Aries, beautiful Aries. How are all of you after that eclipse in your sign, that solar eclipse in your sign? That was so energizing. I wonder how it was for you if you were just on fire now. It kind of zapped me the next day. I was like on the couch. I was working on my couch. I was writing articles from a reclined position. But Aries, that was really big for you. Now you are having this lunar eclipse, so whatever inspired you during that eclipse, you are now releasing anything that's in the way of continuing to feel inspired and bringing that into life, into your reality. This is the 8th house for you. It's happening in your 8th house, this eclipse. It's shared resources. It's the house of Pluto. It is death and rebirth, taxes, sexuality, deep intimacy. This is where we bring our inner detective in to say, let's get to the root of this. What's the root of the issue that's draining my energy here? Your message from spirit is this is where in the 8th house where you may cut ties to a certain behavior pattern in your relationship dynamics. You may have a shift in your shared resources with others or with an investment, or you may get an inheritance. Something may culminate for you. You may be culminating a transformation that you've been involved in, a deep inner transformational process. Your message from spirit is that this is going to be super empowering for you. The new beginnings solar eclipse was that for you, and now you are very ready. You're ready to cut ties. I got this feeling like you're unstoppable, you're focused, and you're determined. And if you're exhausted, let yourself rest. If you're feeling like, okay, where was that big new beginning? Remember that Aries solar eclipses don't come to fruition for 6 months usually, and sometimes up to 2 years. We're still playing out that storyline. So have patience, Aries. I have Mars in Aries. We want everything yesterday. Where is it? I see the things. Why do I not see the big upsurge and abundance and everything I want? I get that. But give yourself time. Give yourself the self-love and self-care that you need while we're in this process, because a lunar eclipse is a letting go process. It's a releasing process, okay? Where you're leveling up is your 2nd house of money, self-esteem, values, and self-love. So you may have some insecurities come up during this eclipse that are calling on you to release, to be released, so that you can see yourself with new eyes, and you can see yourself and give yourself the self-love that you need. And you can maybe have then the energy, the courage, the confidence to ask for a raise if you want to make more money, to start that business you've been wanting to start. But self-esteem is what's really like blaring for me right now as I look at my notes. And I feel like there is an up-leveling of self-esteem for you here. There's a new vision for you. See yourself as the god or goddess that you are. We are all images of the gods and goddesses that we look up to, that we, if we got to choose. I think that's a great question, actually. Which god or goddess would you be if you could choose one? Which would you be? See yourself through those eyes. See yourself as that beautiful mythic figure. And if you do see yourself as that mythic figure, and you were that mythic figure, how would you operate in these areas of income, money, self-esteem, and self-love? How would you move through the world differently, Aries? What would you ask for? What would you expect? What would you receive? Those are your marching orders. Okay. I don't think I pulled a card for you yet. This is what happens. I get so into these messages and then I'm like, did I pull a card? Okay, I'm going to do that now. Beautiful Aries. Your card is the Moon. Take note of intuitive messages. The Moon has all of these cycles. We are now in the releasing phase. The full moon is the culmination, releasing, purging phase, especially with the Scorpio eclipse. It's where we purge. It's where we get our feelings out. So let yourself do that. Be aware of these moon cycles. beautiful Aries. They're all different. We have different feelings at different times. Take note of your intuitive messages because we often have the most illuminating messages come on a full moon. Okay, Pisces, beautiful Pisces. You are having this transit, this lunation of the Scorpio lunar eclipse in your 9th house. This 9th house transit is all about an expansion. This is the 9th house of spirituality, of spiritual growth. It's higher learning. It's getting a PhD. It's getting a master's degree. It's culminating a learning program that you've been involved in. It's a new adventure or ending an adventure. It's new horizons. This is also our belief systems. So because this lunation, Scorpio, full moon lunar eclipse, it trines your sign. That means there's positive energy flow. You're both water signs. There will be an ease in whatever you're letting go of, whatever you're cutting ties to, whatever is culminating or ending for you. There will be an ease with that. Release it, Pisces. Let it go. Generally, Pisces are good at letting go of things. You know you're the house of endings already, so there's already sort of an ease in that. But that doesn't mean we're not human, right? We're human. I have 3 planets in the 12th house. That is Pisces energy. I know it's not easy to let something go. You may have a disappointment that comes up during this eclipse, no question. But you may also be going through a detoxification process that gives you so much more energy, that lets you rise to the occasion, that lets you become the butterfly coming out of the chrysalis. Whatever the conclusion or ending is for you, I feel like it's really going to bring you joy and serenity. Not only that, but some of you could be culminating a project like a spiritual seeking project. You might have a big, great awakening aha moment where you finally understand something that you haven't understood before. You could be publishing something, a book. You could be putting some writing out into the world or some videos out, or really getting knowledge about something that you didn't have knowledge about before. So there could be a real illumination for you here. 9th house expansion, definitely awakening, definitely illumination. This is a really beautiful place to have a lunar eclipse. Where you're leveling up, Pisces, is in your local environment. It's the 3rd house, your mindset, your thinking, your devices, cousins, neighbors, siblings, your neighborhood, where you do all your immediate networking, etc. It's your everyday conversations. This is where you're leveling up. This is where you might want to change your environment. Some part of your environment, you might want to change it. You have a new vision. You have higher standards now, and you're not going to settle for anything less. So this is where you're upgrading your material reality too. So for some of you, you could be like getting a new device or changing your neighborhood. So now I am shuffling the cards, Pisces. What is the card for Pisces? What do the cards have to say for you, Pisces, on this beautiful lunar eclipse? And this is exchange energy to create abundance. Exchange energy to create abundance. It's the trader card, as in I do trades. I trade my energy and I receive energy back. So for those of you who are creative, obviously this is an artisan here in this card. Pisces is a very artistic sign. For those of you who want to do something on the side, maybe you want to have an Etsy account, and sell things on Etsy. Maybe you want to go sell things through a craft fair. I mean, it doesn't have to be artful kinds of things. It could be anything. But what this card is really encouraging you to do is, if you've been stuck, if you haven't started it, start by trading services. Start by asking people, do you want to trade? I used to trade for coaching the person who did my hair. I did coaching for him and he would do my hair. And I love that. We did that for the longest time. It was so cool. We also had this little agreement where we'd bring each other a coffee. When I would go to him for my hair, I'd bring him a coffee. When he came to me for coaching, he'd bring me a coffee. And it was just so lovely. So these trades can also be a place where we're really beginning to form solid community with our tribe, our chosen tribe as well. They can really help us to feel more solid and secure in the world. So leave me a comment, Pisces. Let me know if this resonates for you. This card's about abundance. It's like exchanging energy can make you feel more abundant. when we feel anchored in community, when we feel like we have ties to people who care about us, we can feel more solid, secure, and stable. And that's what these Taurian placements, luminaries, planets want us to do. And that's in your third house of your local environment. So it really fits that way. So leave me a comment, Pisces. Let me know if this resonates for you, and happy eclipse, clearing eclipse in Scorpio. Okay, Aquarius. Hello, beautiful Aquarians. You beautiful Aquarius are having this transit, this lunation of the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio in your 10th house of career, life purpose, legacy, retirement, meaning. Now, Aquarius, this energy in Scorpio makes a square to you. So you may feel some tension or pressure. You may feel like you really have to make a decision, or you're kind of in a stuck. You might feel you might feel like you're between a rock and a hard place, as we say. I've never quite understood what that means, rock and a hard place. I don't know, but they're both hard places and rocks. So I don't, but I get the idea. Like, you may feel like you're a little bit in a straitjacket, but remember, you always have choices. You always have options. Release the feelings first. When we release the feelings, then we have a freedom. We've created more space. So you could have an ending in this area of career. You could have an aha moment. You could have something come through that really shows you what you want now, what would bring you meaning, what would bring you fulfillment. You might have a last straw moment with your career and just say, I'm done. I'm done with this career. I'm done with a way of being in my career or my business. I'm done with frittering away my energy on a certain thing that's no longer, that's expired for you as a soul. Or you might change your mindset about career, life purpose, or retirement or legacy. This can be very liberating for you because Uranus is making an aspect. It's opposing the eclipse. It's conjuncting the sun in Taurus. It wants us to do things differently. It wants you to change things up. And it's promising us a life upgrade in some way, which doesn't necessarily mean a new car or a new home, although it could. It means that we upgrade our lives to match our new values, our new post-2020 values. Some of you may be retiring. Some of you just want a more self-directed life, and you're finally coming to terms, I feel, with what your true values are and accepting that, regardless of what the world says. Aquarius, you are the one sign known for letting your freak flag fly, for letting yourself be your unique self and going against the grain, rebelling against societal norms. So do you have any norms within yourself that have come from your conditioning that don't match your true Aquarian spiritual warrior's soul? If so, it's time to cut ties to those. Okay, so where you're leveling up is in your 4th house of home and family. This is where you want a better home life, or you want a better home environment. This could be that you're beautifying your home. Usually 4th house, though, is something in our family dynamics, especially with Scorpio and Taurus energies. So you might be setting new boundaries here in your home area, or detoxifying a conditioned pattern from early childhood or past lives. Okay, so now I'm shuffling the cards for you, Aquarius, and I'm going to pull a card. Aquarius. The Medicine Mother. Ooh, I love this card so much. This is so cool. Honor your inner knowing. Oh my gosh. She reminds me of Kali in a way. Goddess Kali that I spoke about earlier in the video. The Medicine Mother says, you have medicine for others. She has medicine for you. Call on the Medicine Mother to help you to honor your inner knowing, which I feel is going to be a lot about setting clear boundaries. And I love all the blue, which tells me throat chakra, which says, speak your truth. Stand your ground. You know what's good for you. You know what isn't. You know who in your home environment is good for you, or your career environment, who or what. And a light's going to be shown on this area of life purpose for you, but also maybe illuminating your 4th house of home and family, showing you where it's time to really, really honor what you know to be true and take steps to value it, honor it. And that often means boundaries. Beautiful Aquarius. So the medicine mother. I'm going to let you see her a little bit closer because notice how she's got all of this beautiful regalia on that's, to me, is very spiritual warrior-like. Very spiritual warrior-like. So don the clothing, the face paint, whatever you need to do to speak your truth, stand your ground. Take steps on what you know is true. Beautiful Aquarius. Okay, Capricorns. Hello, beautiful Capricorns. You guys are having this transit, this lunation of the full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio, where we cut ties in your house of the 11th house of communities, friendships, causes. This is where you've given your energy and hopefully where you've received energy from the bigger community, okay? This is also where we like go to functions, where we go to meetup groups, where we do online dating, house of hopes, wishes, and dreams also. So you may have a new dream now as a result of an old dream dying. Long-term gains as well. This is also a money house. It's a financial house. It's where we often receive gains from energy we've put out in the past, or perhaps winning the lottery. So there's a culmination, there's an ending here. There's a cord cutting here for you, whichever of those applies to you. Your message from Spirit is that the eclipse, and I think some of you just, you know that a friendship has to go. You know that you've been putting your energy in a place where it doesn't match your vibration anymore. You're not in it anymore. It's like your soul has left the room. Like your body might be there, but your soul isn't there. And that is draining your energy, Capricorn. This eclipse sextiles your sign. A sextile is a new opportunity. It's a new passion. This is possibly your tribe completely changing over. You may have a complete changeover of tribe. In some area, you are so done. You are so over. You may have a last straw moment. You may have hung out with people who you've given your advice to, Capricorn. See, Capricorn is the advisor. You're the CEO of the zodiac. You're the executive. You're the one that people come to for advice. You've given your advice to people who haven't taken it, who maybe over and over they come to you, they vent, they cry, they tell you what's messed up in their life. But then when you give them your counsel, they don't follow through on it. And you want relationships where you can see that what you're giving is having an impact. That's very important to Capricorns. So this is where you're having a realization or an aha moment or epiphany, and you're going, okay, I'm done with that. Why am I leaking my energy out to people who aren't being, who aren't turning around and changing their lives or changing how they operate or the world as a result? Even though you are compassionate, Capricorn, you will give people a lot of leeway, but at a certain point you just go, okay, it's not working for me anymore. Where you're leveling up, Capricorn, is in your 5th house. This is children, creativity, creative expression, and any kind of writing projects, any kind of art projects, any kind of self-expression. It's the house of the inner child. It's also love and romance. So this is where you have a new vision for your life. You have a new vision of how you want things to be. And that means you could see with Uranus here, you could see changes in your children, changes in decisions that they're making, things that they're doing. Also, you could be bringing something out or planning to bring out a new creative project or expression, or a whole new part of you being birthed into form as a result of your new recognition of your own values, your own worth, what you deserve now, Capricorn, going forward. Okay, let me pull a card for you. I'm shuffling the cards. Beautiful Capricorns. I feel like this is kind of serious. I feel like I'm more serious in this video than usual because the energy does honestly feel a bit heavy, but I'm recording this the day after, day or two after, I guess, after the Aries solar eclipse. So I think I'm still letting this energy move through me as well. So let's pull a card for you, Capricorns, beautiful Capricorns, for this Scorpio lunar eclipse. And your card is, ooh, so beautiful. Mother Earth, feel loved and comforted. So beautiful. You're about to give birth to something. This is so cool because you're leveling up in the 5th house and she's so pregnant. And whatever she's pregnant with is her gift to the world. Oh my gosh. And some of you could be having a baby, could be getting pregnant. That's very possible. So with all this earth energy, Capricorn, your earth energy, all this earth energy and the Taurian planets and placements that are happening right now, this card is saying use that. Ground yourself with earth energy. Take walks in nature. Know that you're going to be giving birth to something that you may not even see yet. You may not even know the colors or the textures or the what it's actually going to be, but you will be giving birth to something in the months to come. And in the process and in the now, allow yourself to love and be loved and to receive unconditional love from your soul, from the divine, from nature, from everything in life that doesn't have human frailties, right? The people in our lives, they go up and down, they can be moody, they can be present, they can be not present, but nature's always there for you. Your soul's always there for you. Your guides are always there for you. You are unconditionally loved. Call on that love and support, beautiful Capricorn, and you shall be nourished in the way that you need to be. Okay, Sagittarius, beautiful Sagittarius. Thank you for your patience. You are having this transit of the lunation of Scorpio, full moon, lunar eclipse in your 12th house. Your 12th house is the house of retreat, rejuvenation. It's where we step back. It's where we go within. It's where we go into the other world, the spiritual world. We do astral travel. We do guided meditations. We cut the cords to people, situations, and things that are no longer good for us. It's where we commune with the divine. So I feel like this is going to be a really self-loving eclipse for you. You could have some wild dreams during this time. This is going to show you. The light is going to be shining bright. You're not going to be able to not see. How do you like that sentence? You're not going to be able to not. It will not elude you. Let's say that. What the truth that wants to come to light for you, Sag, it's going to come to light. For those of you, especially who are Sag rising, you're going to see the truth very brightly and clearly, clearing out, many of you, a subconscious pattern that has made you feel helpless or powerless. In Scorpio energy, we can feel helpless and powerless to make any changes. We can have codependent patterns, and we can be blind to them because Scorpio is the unconscious, and we don't see it till we see it. When I tuned into your energy, I felt that some of you are in sadness during this eclipse. Some of you are grieving the death of an old self. Some of you will be releasing tears. It could be a past life connection. You could have a past life love come into your life and really light you up, and then have it burn out just as quickly, or have them not be the person that you were hoping that they would be. You could have disappointment. But you will be renewed after you cut ties to anything that is draining your energy. Be fiercely honest with yourself, Sagittarius. See the truth. Don't negotiate away what you're seeing. If people aren't being present with you, if you're not being present with yourself and your feelings, this is a full presence eclipse. Wants us to be very radically honest with ourselves, see the truth, and respond accordingly. Where you're leveling up is in your 6th house of work, your daily routines, your health, your exercise, whatever you do to feel vital and alive. So you could be having a shift here. This is where you're going to get a new vision for your life. You could start working out. You could start changing what you eat. You could start taking herbs. You could get into Ayurveda. You could, this is where you're trying to increase your levels of energy so you can do more of what you love, your heart's desire. So that's really beautiful. So expect to feel, this is where you're increasing your material reality too, the 6th house. So you could get a new job, you could get a promotion, you could have more money coming in, or you could just feel more vital, alive, and healthy because you've started a new routine that really, really invigorates your energy. Okay, Sag, I'm pulling a card for you now. Sagittarius, full moon lunar eclipse in Scorpio. Your card is the Lord. Take charge with authority. Love, love, love this card. You are the Lord of your life, beautiful Sag. You're in control. You can take back your power wherever you feel powerless and where you might be afraid of losing something. If you do assert your power, know you can do that in loving, clear ways, and that if other people don't honor your boundaries, if other people don't say yes to what you know you need, you will have something will come in and fill that void. It's too draining to continue to walk on eggshells or tiptoe around something or someone because you're afraid of loss. Face it head on, stand in your power, take charge with authority, and you will be really surprised. Yes, there may be a very short-term temporary void, but the universe abhors a vacuum. The universe will fill in the space with something that's higher vibrational, that's more of a match to your energy, that is more nourishing, and what you deserve, Sag. You deserve better. You're up-leveling your life. Say yes to that. Be brave. Be the Lord of your life. You've got this. My beautiful friend, thank you so much for being here with me. Thank you for your time, energy, and presence. Thank you for your likes of this video. Thank you for your comments. I love communing with you. I love your comments. I love connecting with you. Thank you for your shares of this video, sharing to people who love astrology, and also for your subscribes. Do you know that when you subscribe to my videos, not only are you then alerted when I upload, and especially if you hit the notification bell, but you send the message when you subscribe to the algorithm that says, put this video out to more people. So when you like, when you comment, when you subscribe, you support my channel. You help it to grow. You allow me to continue doing these videos. So I'm so grateful to you for that. Now, if you would like a personal astrology consultation, I would love to work with you. This is such an empowering time to do an astrology consultation. We're in the middle of eclipse season. We have 2 more eclipses in the fall. In your astrology consultation, whether you choose a life purpose reading, a natal chart reading, or a heart's desire reading, in your reading, I will go over the current transits with you. How are they working with you? What's difficult and challenging? When is that going to end? What are the future transits that you can use to catapult yourself into new, brighter, better feeling energy? How are the eclipses affecting you? This is a bonus that I'm doing right now. I'm adding the eclipses to my readings and how they're affecting you personally in your chart. So this is a great time to take advantage of that. Go to my website, check out my testimonials, see how other people have responded to the readings that they've received with me. And this will give you a sense of whether we would be a good fit. I also offer coaching. I can do one-off clarity sessions for you, help you get clarity on something very specific, or we can do a deeper dive transformational ongoing coaching that I call soul alchemy coaching. Everything about my coaching and my astrology consultations is on my website. The links are below in the description box. So click on those links. And if you would like support by working through a book that is a companion on your journey, on your soul's journey of illumination, enlightenment, and detoxifying like the Scorpio eclipse is doing, check out my book, The Magic of Saying Yes, Answering Your Heart's True Calling. That is linked in the description box as well as the banner above. And as I said, I have a free gift that will really support you to move through this eclipse season in the Scorpio lunar eclipse. It's a free guided meditation. It's a soothing meditation. It will reconnect you to your spirit. It will return you home to yourself. To get that free guided meditation, all you have to do is go to my website, subscribe to my weekly inspirational updates, astrology updates, and not only will you get those direct in your inbox, but you will also get an instant download of my free guided meditation. I want to say thank you so much to those of you who've donated to my channel. There's a PayPal link below if you would like to buy me a Mexican mocha. You completely light me up. You completely make my day. Your support means the world to me. You can do that by clicking on the PayPal link below. Thank you to my Sunday chat people for being here. Join us next Sunday if you missed it this week. Love to have you. And until my next video, my friend, I'm sending you all my love.